Hi, everybody. This is my book talk and reader response. And the book I chose is Fighting with Love: The Legacy of John Lewis, written by Lisa Cline-Ransome and James E. Ransom. All right, show you the book. Um, and the reason I chose this book is if you were introducing the civil rights movement to early to middle grades, I think this would be an excellent choice because it talks about aspects of the civil rights movement, themes of the civil rights movement through the life of Representative John Lewis. Starts with talking about him growing up in a family of sharecroppers, living through segregation, then going on to college and joining the NAACP and the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, participating in the sit-ins and freedom rides, things that we know that are associated with the civil rights movement. And then thinking about as of late the scrutiny and the microscope that is under teaching history and teaching themes of racism and discrimination right now in many of our schools in the United States. Using such books could be an excellent way to guide students through some of those hard conversations. But I think we need to have them. It's the fear of some that if you talk about racism and you talk about discrimination, that it will somehow make our white students feel either uncomfortable or some level of guilt, or it could invoke feelings of um, inferiority or victimhood in our black students. And from my experience, uh, talking about these things have had quite the opposite effect, where it's more about curiosity and students wanting to know more and actually have these conversations. So I think this book will be an excellent way in guiding students through that because when, when I'm talking about these things, I always stress that there were always opposing views. And what do I mean by that? That we talk about discrimination, we talk about civil rights, that uh, the actions and the beliefs of all whites wasn't the same. There were whites that were totally against segregation, that were totally against the racist policy. So it's important to let students know that. And there were some that gave their lives for the movement. And this book talks about how on those freedom rides that there were both black and white individuals riding together, working together to end segregation. Um, Two, if I'm thinking about some activities I would use as far as the language, I'm looking at brainstorming. I like to do this, just simply ask students, even before they're reading, what do you know about the civil rights movement? And based on my experience, much of what students know, and this isn't their fault, is they talk about Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. Now, that's not a bad thing, considering those are two towering figures of the civil rights movement who made great contributions. But we know that the civil rights movement consisted of more than just Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. That there were everyday people that contributed so much to the movement. If you think about it, Fannie Lou Hamer or Ella Baker or a Harry and Harriet Moore, people that don't necessarily come to mind when you talk about civil rights, but made a great contribution. And as far as writing, I like the vocabulary triangles activity where you take vocab words, or you take terms, you have your triangle, and at each point of the triangle you have a word, and students can find a way to connect those words. You can start by simply having the students uh, use the word in a sentence, or write a sentence using a word, and then if they could write a sentence using two and then three words connecting those words. One example I used was civil rights, justice, and segregation, where students could simply write a sentence using those words by themselves and then find a way to connect them. For instance, John Lewis fought for justice by working to end segregation and enhance civil rights for all people. So that helps with one, building vocabulary, but two, knowing how to apply the vocabulary and use them, leading to greater understanding. So This is my book talk and reader response. Thanks for watching.